Hello, everybody. Welcome. It is Adobe Max. Max is happening. This is it. It's happening. So yes, hi, Kristi. Say hello to everybody.
Hi, everyone.
So we're going to get into Kristi in just a second, but just want to shout out a couple things. It is Max. It has officially started. You are right now in the Community Live Lounge. So the Community Live Lounge is an extraordinary virtual experience. You can find inspiration, connect with creatives all over the world, and just tune in with us in a live community chat. So I will be looking at chat. We have a lot to cover. These sessions are only 25 minutes. We're used to going live in about 2 hours, but we're going to get to what Kristi's wants to do with the first takes with Lightroom and Photoshop. So real quick, if you haven't registered for Max, we do have this call out right here. So visit max.adobe.com to register and attend sessions. And right now, everybody's actually with us in the Community Live Lounge, right? So here's the schedule for what's going on with the Live Lounge. So right now, it's first takes with Kristi Odom. And then right after us, we have Claudie for a first takes with graphic design. So I'm not going to go over the schedule because, like I said, we got a lot to do. So without further ado, Kristi, I'm going to let you take it away. Go ahead and introduce yourself real quick for anybody that may not know you. And then just let's jump right into what we're going to be doing for this 25 minutes.
Hi, I'm Kristi Odom. I'm a wildlife and conservation photographer and filmmaker based in Longmont, Colorado. And I'm really excited to show you guys some of this new stuff. It was a lot of fun to play with it.
I agree. It was very fun. Yeah, we've been working behind the scenes, checking out the content plan, and there's some cool stuff that we're going to show you. So I am excited.
Really, really excited. Let me know when I can launch up my Lightroom for you guys.
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. Great. I will admit, I love Lightroom. I do most of my editing on Lightroom. And so the fact that there are these amazing new masking tools on Lightroom has just been something that really, really excited about. So I'm going to show you guys how I would use them in some of my own work. This is an orangutan I photographed out in Sumatra. And I'm really big into eye movement. So I'm really big into how the viewer's eye is going to travel throughout the frame when they look at an image. So this image, when I look at it, there's a lot of distractions from over here in the armpit to the light over here. And so using these new masking tools is going to help me edit. I'm going to show you guys exactly all the things that we can do here. So there is a little icon over here. This is the circle. This is the masking tool. And when you click on this, it brings up this list of things that you can do. I love this select subject, and I wanted to test the select subject out on animals, especially ones that are a little more difficult, maybe with the hairlines and things like that. So that's why this orangutan is a perfect example today. So when I click on select subject, what it's going to do is it's going to grab this mask around the orangutan, and you can see it over here. When I mouse over, you can see all the red there, which is great. So I usually like my main subjects to be a little brighter. So I can take that and bring out, you see, I can do it a lot, but just a little bit, bring out a little more exposure in the main subject. Now, the background is still really distracting, so I can add another one of these layer masks. So I'm going to create a new layer mask. I'm going to select my subject again. And now this time I'm going to invert this because I want to deal with the background. And there's a button over here called invert. I click on that and it selects all this background information, which is great because I can pull that exposure down, and I can also pull those highlights down, which brings more exposure to my main subject. I'm going to click into my regular editing mode, and I am going to make this black and white because I am obsessed with black and white.
Oh yeah, it's your MO. I love it.
I'm actually going to crop it down a little bit. My favorite crop overlay, and they now have the golden spiral that's really easy to select here in crop overlays, and I am obsessed with that. And you can toggle that spiral by hitting the Shift O button, and it'll toggle these different spirals, so you can really work on making sure your viewer's eyes kind of spiral down into the image. So I'm going to crop down here. Right. So this is kind of the crop that, yeah, actually me being a little perfectionist, I want a little more detail there.
And while you do that, we do have a question in the chat asking if this feature is available in Lightroom Classic as well. It is. I want to shout out that what Kristi is doing is actually something completely new to the Lightroom interface. So those of you that have used Photoshop may be familiar with the way that masking now works. So if you don't see this, first of all, update your apps, because as of this morning, these features became available in Lightroom Classic and Lightroom Desktop. which is what Kristi's using. But yeah, it's a whole new way to work with masks, and it's very cool. As you're seeing now, and you're going to see even more, it just allows you to really fine tune that subject and just have a lot more options to work with masks. So yeah, continue, Kristi.
Great question. Yeah. So scrolling down on the effects panel, I see the vignette. I always like a vignette because I like my eyes to be really contained in that image. A little bit of darkening around the edges, I think, adds a lot to this. So now I'm going to take everything down because I do usually favor a darker image. So I'm going to pull my exposure down a little bit. Now I'm looking at the background here. I still see my tones and my blacks. It looks great. This is a little bit dark for me, but now I'm going to start playing around with different masks because I'm obsessed with the fact that you can do these radial gradient masks as well. So I'm going to make my image a little on the dark side, and then I'm going to make something I'm going to make a mask that's going to make these eyes pop. So I'm going to rotate. Yeah, make it pop. So I'm going to add just a little bit of exposure, and our eyes do go to the sharpest part of the image. So maybe just a little bit of clarity as well. I love clarity. And then I'm actually going to add another one of these radial filters, and I'm going to do it over the whole orangutan's face here. All right, make a little bit more exposure there. Now I'm going to go back to my master and pull down just a little bit. So that, to me, I find that my eye really is attracted to the eye of the orangutan here. It doesn't travel around as much. These distracting elements have been brought down a lot, and it's a lot different from the original, where your eye kind of goes all over, to this final output. And one of the things I'm really excited to show you, and this is one of the reasons that I am in Lightroom Desktop as opposed to Classic, is I can share this edit, and I can also do what's called a community remix in here. So if I go here to where this little share button is, and I can share it to Discover, and this is now going to go online, and I'm going to allow this remixing. So you guys can go in and you actually have access to this file, and you can play around and edit this orangutan file yourself. And I would love to see your edits. And that's one of the things that I love about Adobe or Lightroom Desktop, is the fact that I can get feedback, I can get other edits, and people can't steal the image either. They can only edit in app, which is great. Right.
Yeah. So it keeps the copyright, and of course, it doesn't actually give you the original source file. It's just allowed to be edited in app. And the remix feature is something that's only exclusive for Lightroom Desktop. So it's not on Lightroom Classic, but it is on Lightroom Desktop. And it is a pretty cool feature, so you can remix or play around with other artists' photographs or see what other people have done. So pretty cool, nifty little feature.
Sounds good. Yeah, and I'm going to put that up right at the very end of this. I'm going to connect and do all that stuff right after. But it's a great add-on feature. So keep an eye out for this orangutan that should pop up in the discovery panel of Lightroom.
Correct. We just did it live. You just saw it. It is now out there officially.
One of the other things that I love is I love photographing for silhouette. And whenever you photograph for silhouette, I find that I don't always get it perfect. Like, here is a bear. I'm always a little tilted on my images, and I'll fix that horizon here. But as you can see, that there's some detail here on the fur on the top of the bear. And I want this to be a true silhouette. And one of the things about this select subject is it makes this silhouetting so easy. To get a silhouette in photography, what you basically do is you expose for the background, and if there's no light hitting your subject, and if you're shooting it just right, you can drop that subject into dark, because your camera's always looking for a center gray. So I ended up exposing for the sky, which was actually a bright white, and that brought that to center gray, and that brought the bear to a shadow. So going into the masking feature here, and select subject, it's great because it's going to detect this bear, all the bear's hair, and I can super easily, oh my gosh, I can't believe that this is all in Lightroom now. This is so cool. I can make this a true silhouette just like that. Super
what was
simple.
It 2 clicks and 1 slider, and
and it even has like all this detail around here. It's really just got the fur, which is great. And I can add another select subject here, and I'm going to do this as the inverse again and play with that background, because the background I might want to be a little brighter, play around with the texture of the background or anything like that. I do need to fix my horizon because that's going to drive me absolutely nuts that it's not straight. I always kind of photograph at an angle. I don't know what's going on. Maybe I'm missing
I have
a
a
shoe or
level on my
something.
camera and I always think I'm level 2. And then of course we bring it into Lightroom and it's not. So you share the
But I
pain.
can pull that saturation down. I can pull that contrast up and I've got my true silhouette. And
There
that
it is.
was, even with me talking about it and demoing it, this is stuff that can be done fast. And when you're shooting a lot of images, it's really nice to be able to do these edits super quickly. How's
Very
everyone
cool.
doing?
It's good. We have some people saying that they're discovering your work. You got some follows. Everybody saying hello. So yes, again, thank you everybody for joining us. We are looking at the chat. So if you have any questions for Kristi, now's the time to say them. They'll get relayed to us and we will shout them out. This is live. This is actually happening in real time. It's crazy.
Oh my goodness gracious.
Very
So
cool.
cool.
All right. So what else we got?
I want to do another one of these bears because this one's a little bit more complicated with the fact that there was some spray in the air and things like that. Just to show you guys, because I'm obsessed with this. I had so much fun with these new features. And for everyone that's updated their software this morning, you've got these features on your computer as well, which is fantastic. So here we go. I've captured the 3 bears and I'm going to go ahead and really emphasize that silhouette.
And again, just like that, click the button, select subject, and it got all 3 bears. Now, yeah, we have a super simple silhouette.
Exactly. So this was one of my favorite things about masking, as well as really being able to, you know, like I showed you guys with the orangutan picture, really help with the eye movement and all that cool stuff. So let's just, yeah, show you guys how fast I can do all this because I think it's really quite fun.
Cool. And I'm going to make you walk and chew gum at the same time because we do have some questions coming in,
Okay.
Kristi. Question from the chat. With raw images, do you start with Lightroom or Photoshop?
I do my raws in Lightroom because I like having all that color depth. So I like having all the information because a lot of times I'm only editing in Lightroom these days. I'm shooting so much that it's nice as well because I can, if I find the right edit, I can batch my whole sequence of images really easily. I like that Lightroom deals with multiple images. And I use Photoshop when things are a little bit more complicated, but I like that the masking features are something that is now being emphasized and worked on in Lightroom because it's going to make things so much easier. This image, when I took this image, like to get an edit like this took me a long time. It took me probably a good hour before, and now I'm able to do it with this new masking feature in the matter of seconds, which I think is quite phenomenal. So I'm really excited about this new technology.
Agreed. And we also have a very important question. I do say so myself. Where's Goldilocks?
Oh, and the 3. Oh, I love it. Oh my gosh. Anyone that knows me knows I love really bad jokes. And by bad, I mean awesome. Like that was an awesome joke. But I guess I like good puns. So
Yeah,
if you
it's
guys
like,
have
it's so
any
bad
puns,
it's good type of thing.
send them over because I love them. But at the end of this, I could throw these up on Community Remix. If anyone's interested in trying to play with editing these shots, I'm very happy to throw this bear up here. And so I'll make sure that those are live there right when we get offline. But
yeah, and again, check them out on Lightroom Desktop. So not Lightroom Classic, but they will be available for remixing on Lightroom Desktop.
Yes, and all the masking features are available on Lightroom Classic.
On both.
So
yeah,
pretty
Lightroom
exciting.
Classic and Lightroom Desktop. Very cool. All right, so we're chucking along here. So we have about 10 more minutes. So
great.
What else did we want to showcase to our fellow creatives?
So I'm really excited to show you guys this one feature that I became obsessed with in Photoshop. So I actually got my degree in fine arts and with a concentration in photo media, and Photoshop now has a whole bunch of mixing that it does with your files. And I want to show you guys some fun things that I was kind of creating, if that's all right.
Let's do it. I love this background image, by the way. Spare's always just kind of like, hey, what are you guys doing? Well, we're live, my friend. We're in the community lounge.
So I'm going to take this picture that I have of an owl. And one of the things that I was really excited about is the neural filters. So up under filters, if you go down 3, you'll see what's called neural filters, and you can turn these on and off. And they have this new style transfers where you can get styles from famous artists and incorporate it into your own work. And I thought that was super cool. So going over image styles, I definitely see a lot of artwork that I recognize, and I can use all of these and kind of play with different looks on top of my image. So we're going to start with this piece here and see how this does on my owl shot.
Cool. And while we wait, we do have a question from the chat. Does Lightroom have a refine edge? I have trouble selecting an object if the background is a similar color. So I don't think it has the specific refine edge tool like Photoshop, if that's what you're asking. But within the new mask features, you are able to actually edit the edges when there is a selection of a select subject. So you can go in and brush away things or just kind of fine tune it, just like you would in Photoshop, or just kind of some manual editing. So it really does have that fine tune masking with the edges. So cool. And I see that it did it. Yay, look at this.
Did it. And you can change the strength, you can change the opacity, the saturation, all that good stuff. You can set it to be an output of a new layer. And so this is one of the ones that I really, really loved. I'm going to cancel this. I want to close out and I want to show you some of the things that I have created using that neural filter, because I've made a whole bunch of really fun files. And I did a lot of different techniques. So this is the one that I just did. So I flattened it and then saved it. But it's something that's just a lot of fun to play with, and play with mixing your image with different styles and kind of coming out with something completely different. Here's an image that I took of a howler monkey. And I took this in Photoshop and I reflected it, which I'm happy to show you guys how I did this. And then I applied the Starry Night, the filter that was inspired by Starry Night. And it gave it this really cool kind of brush feeling that really popped that yellow out. And I thought that it was kind of, I don't know. The second I was able to put this on my computer and play with it, it was like the sky was the limit.
Yeah. And again, it's the neural filters. They get applied in the click of a button, and you come up with all these different interpretations of your own work. So I agree. I mean, we already have our edits, but we could just take them to a whole nother level with these neural filters. They came out super cool. I know you have some other ones in here too, Kristi. So are there any other ones you want to show in this folder?
I want to show a lot of them because I had so much fun with them. This was inspired by a cubist artist. And so taking a shot that was actually taken pretty close to the photo of the other bears that I had. So this was like a couple of frames later. So I took this in Photoshop and I literally just took a portion of the image and then I extended my canvas and reflected it. And then I applied a neural filter and thought I loved the way that the water looked. And I loved the different strokes up at the top of the image and on the water and the bottom of the image. I thought it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, this looks super cool.
But I made a lot of them. If that's okay, I kind of want to show through them.
Let's see them. Yeah. Let's see what these neural filters have done. This one's cool. A little green aurora alien looking thing. You can call that.
This was an image I took of giraffes and I reflected the image. So I took it and I reflected it and I changed the opacity and reflected it one more time. So I flipped it, and changed the opacity of the second layer so you could see through. And then I applied a neural filter and I really liked the outcome. And I could show you guys some of the befores if you want to see the befores on these.
Yeah,
I think 25 minutes is so quick that I wanted to kind of show you some of my final outputs because I was really excited about it. Here's another one that I used with butterflies, reflections, neural filters.
Yeah, this one's new. I hadn't seen this one yet. Very cool.
Again,
if you don't follow Kristi, definitely follow her on Instagram or Behance because she has a lot of this. A lot of macro photography, a lot of just backyard photography that when you look at it through a different lens, I mean, it is a whole different world. So very cool stuff. We have a question from the chat. Oh no, I think we lost Kristi. All right, let's see. Maybe she can come back and I'll answer.
Did you lose me?
Oh, you did. You froze, but now you're back. Yay.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Lords. No, you're fine. Just the
Okay,
last
what's
5
the
seconds that you
question?
said something, we didn't hear it.
Okay.
It disappeared, so no more question for now.
Sorry about that. You can re-ask it.
If it comes back up, I'll let you know. But yeah, so we do have about quick time check, 5 more minutes. So
No
yeah,
worries.
We don't show anything else. We do got about 5 more minutes because man, these these sessions go like that.
I know. I'm used to having 4 hours with you.
I know. Yeah, that's what we usually do as streams. Okay, here's a question from the chat.
Mm-hmm.
Can you show us the extended canvas and reflection tools?
Yay. So I took this image here. All right.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to start with a crop tool here, and I'm just going to crop down to this size, just like that. Double click it. And then I go to image canvas size. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to change it into percent. I'm going to do 200% because I want this to be wider. I'm going to set my anchor point here because I want the empty space to be here. And what this is going to do is it's going to extend my canvas size by, it's going to double it. And then I do edit paste. I'm so used to using, oh wait, sorry, Control Z. I've now got to select all. Control Z, I just undid what I did. I'm going to select all with the edit. Well, I usually do Control A for select all, Control C for copy. And now I'm going to go in and do image canvas size. And I'm going to do 200%. Pull this over, Control V. Now I'm going to go to edit, transform, flip over the horizon, and I am going to move this here, right? And now I'm going to do layer, flatten image. And then I'm going to go into the filters again. I'm going to the neural filters. I'm going to show you guys exactly how I did this because it was super easy. How is everyone? Everyone good?
They're good. Yeah,
good.
People are asking if you're on a Mac, but you're not. You're on a Windows.
I am on a Windows.
Windows magic.
Go back over to the style transfer. I'm going to go to image styles here. And this one, I liked the second one. So this was, I'm going to click on that and just give it a second to process. So that's how I made that image.
Very cool. All right, we have a question. You ready for it?
Yes,
How well
I'm
do
ready.
these neural filters you were showcasing translate to print versus screen? That's a good
You know
question.
what? That is an amazing question. And since these are all brand new, I haven't had time to actually print any of them out yet. But I'm excited to see because, like, oh my gosh, Ham and Mule has this new paper, this photo rag metallic that makes reds and oranges just pop. And I can't wait to see something with this sort of level of color go onto a sheet of paper like that. So I'm excited. And if any of you guys do that, let me know how it looks. Like, reach me. I'm just at Kristi Odom on Instagram. Feel free to email me, info@kristiodom.com. But I would love to hear you guys' thought because I would love to see what these things print out.
Very cool. All right, we have 2 more minutes, so we can either do another one of these really quickly if you want, or maybe we could just showcase some of your socials so people know where to find you. I'll leave it up to you.
Sounds good. I would love for you guys to find me on social. So Instagram.com, Kristi Odom. A lot of it's my nature and conservation stuff. Oh, I would love for you guys to follow me. And also, oh my goodness, Paco, what is yours?
Oh, Kristi. You shouldn't, but I'll tell you anyway. Yeah, it's Paco_Sailor.
Okay. Spelled like that?
Yeah.
You got to check out his work as well because it's phenomenal. He does these hyperlapses and unbelievably beautiful work. I love that. Aww. Everyone I've been paired with at Adobe have been artists themselves, which makes the conversation just so much easier and so much more beautiful. So give us both a follow. Love to see what you're up to. Love to see what you do with masking. And, you know, if you want to go into that discovery tool in Lightroom and do a community remix and play with my images, like, would love to see what you come up with there as well.
Yeah, I'm excited. Very cool. Well, Kristi, thank you so much for joining us and showcasing some of your behind the scenes magic and uploading some of that stuff to the remix so people have a chance to play with your photography. That's very cool stuff.
Sounds good.
Cool. All right. Well, we are going to be signing off here in the next 30 seconds. Stay tuned because there's a lot to come from this community lounge. I'm going to throw up the schedule one more time. Don't go anywhere because we have a first takes graphic design with Claudia and Julia, followed by all these amazing things, and I'll spare you me narrating all this stuff. Just take a look at that schedule. Make sure you do go to max.adobe.com to register for any sessions. And without further ado, we are going to be signing off. So again, thank you everybody for joining us. Kristi, always a pleasure streaming with you, and we will see you all pretty shortly. Bye, everybody.
Thank you.